All right, Mystery of History. This is volume 2. So if you've watched my first one, I kind of showed a little bit about Mystery of History. But this is the second volume. So the Mystery of History is 4 volumes, and it goes from the very beginning of creation of the world to present day. And so you can cover, each book is enough for 36 weeks worth, so you can do it in a year. So it's 4 years worth. There's some activities geared from elementary all the way through high school. We've used it for middle school, so 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th, or the 4 volumes for the 4 years. It explains everything about it in the beginning. It's very thorough. Basically, it's history, geography, social studies, all in one book, one big old fat book, and it covers everything for that year, and it's a timeline progression, so you cover everything. So it's not separating biblical history from the world history. It's all along the same timeline together. So all you need is this book. Then they recommend you just get a 3-ring binder, and they tell you how to set it up. And that's where you can know how to put your projects in and how to organize and keep the pictures of the activities you've done. Different things like that. So it's a good place to look back. It's kind of messy here. This is my son's one. And then the timeline that they have you do, you can make one. You can make this huge one you can hang on your wall and keep. But we didn't want one up for 4 years. So we wanted something simple. So we found this on christianbook.com. I'm sure maybe Amazon. You can look at different places. But this is just a book to keep all 4 years of Mystery of History timeline in this one place. So we ordered these cutouts. They're made by Homeschool in the Woods. And I'm just using this example for all 4 of these videos because I don't know where all my other pieces are. But they have the ones that correspond to the years for your book. So you buy one of these packs every year with a new book every year. What you do is you stick them in your timeline. They can color them if they want. And as you're learning in your lesson, you'll learn what each one. He went kind of crazy here. See, it's nice. It has everything in one place. You get an idea of what happened when. So it's the biblical history along with the world history. So instead of learning something in Sunday school, and that's how I grew up, you think it's separate from what goes on in school in your books. You actually find out, oh my gosh, this happened the same time, like Cleopatra was doing this at the same time, Daniel Lyons or whatever. So it's kind of interesting. It ties it all together. So that's what you need for your timeline with your character, and then your book, and then a notebook. And then, like I said, the timeline and this 3-ring binder you'd keep all 4 years. So you'd just be purchasing a new book every year, and then figures. Now they also recommend you getting an atlas and a Bible atlas. We haven't used those too much, but that's a side thing. So, table of contents, it lays it out pretty easy for you each week. It tells you the pre-test. You do 3 lessons a week. So, for instance, and then the scheduling, it gives you lots of ideas for whatever kind of schedule would fit with your family. The one we have used is this one. We do history Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and then Tuesday and Thursday we do science. So it's worked out for us that way because they don't want to do it every day. They have to do other things like English and reading every day. So it breaks it down. You do your pre-test, read the 2 lessons, and you can pick an activity if you want. If it's too much, you don't have to. Then Wednesday, you read the 3rd lesson, do an activity if you want to, and then do memory cards, which we've only done the first year. That's up to you. And then Friday, you do your review, which is you could do the timeline or whatever exercises there are. So, for instance, they have a lot of information here. So, for this one, the pretest. And what you can do is you can just buy a notebook, a cheap notebook, and they can just write their answers in that. If you have more than one kid and you don't want them to write in this, that's what we do. We just keep it so they can write in the notebook. And then the things like crossword puzzles and things you could just photocopy off. It's not a big deal. The pretest is just see like how much the kid already knows, but what you're going to be going over. It's not graded. It's not like that. And they just read their lesson. And they're only that long. So they're not huge. Then they have activities you can pick from. They have them geared. There's for younger students, middle, and older, like high school. And there's more essays and more older research things for them. We always do the middle since we use it for middle school. And if it's too much activities, they don't have to do them all. So that's the 3 lessons right there. And then at the end, these are the timeline figures they'd use to put on their timeline. And then there's optional things they could do. And then they have the end of the week exercise to make sure all this was sinking in and they understand. And then it goes through, same thing. So there's tons of information. I'm sure we could redo this over for the high school year. They have a lot of history here because it's jam-packed. And then in the back there's the answer keys and activity pages. So some of the activities that you need like directions for or extra activities, they have them in the back here. So it's fun. Different things they can make and do. And they're all simple. So that's it for activities. They get to learn symbols and different languages. Fun. And then they have all the maps right here. So you could just photocopy the maps that you need whenever you need them. They're all right here for those. Because sometimes you'll like track down where people went or different things they may have that you would be adding once you do them, and then you stick them in your folder. So, but if it's too much, you just go with what your kid likes. If they're an overachiever, they want to do everything, go for it. If not, don't beat yourself up. Just doing a little bit at a time, just as long as it's fun. You want it to be fun. So that's it for volume 2. It's from the early church in the Middle Ages. So the first one was Creation to the Resurrection. So that was volume 2.